Welcome to an out-of-the-box playthrough. Today I'm going to be playing Deck 52, Space Wrecked. It's a quick solo dungeon crawl, and as you'll see, I've got a lot of white space because it's a dungeon crawl, so I'm going to be laying out cards, and so sorry about all the whiteness. It's all done with a deck of cards. You can actually use a standard normal poker type deck of cards as well. There's a conversion rate in here. What I did though was I downloaded it from PNPArcade and printed it out. And so I've sleeved printed cards and I have like a magic card in the middle. So that's how I built my set of cards. So it is a dungeon crawler, solo, 10 minutes or so, 7 and above. And I'm going to play through it. But first, so you'll see these cards look quite small, but these are standard size magic cards. But you'll see in a minute why I need all that space. But rules there, guess I need them. So in this game, you have been basically space wrecked by pirates, and you have to escape through a grav shaft and find it. As part of that process, you have to complete an objective before you're able to escape, and that is the dungeon crawl part. As you crawl through the dungeon, you will explore cards, resolve those cards, which will then manifest new cards, which then allow you different options. When you play it, you have a health deck, so we've got a health deck of 4 cards, which goes down as you lose your health. There is also a loot deck, so as you find things, you collect loot, but inside the loot deck there is an explosive power cell explosion that does -2 health. It's a little bit like exploding kittens. You never quite know when that one's going to come up, but you can manipulate that depending on who you're playing with. A lot of the game requires you to take actions, and you've got an action deck which has values from 1 to 5, which you can also augment. And sometimes you can remove these here. It's good to remove 1 because you often 1's usually a bad thing. And we usually just flip that and it gives us a value. So I'll leave that one there because I'm going to need that one quite a lot. There are 3 characters you can play with: the thug, the marine, and the scientist. And just for a bit of fun, let's pick one at random and see how we go from there. So we will be playing as the marine. Get rid of those. So the marine starts with a pulse rifle, and the pulse rifle goes into the action deck. So when you draw that, you get a 6. So that's really good. So I won't need those other cards. But first of all, I need an objective. So you can either play it as a campaign, which I'll talk about at the end. I'm just going to play through one solo level. You need an objective, and much like any kind of activity in the game, you need to draw an action card. So we're doing objective number 2, which is resolve any 2 cards in gaps, and that will become obvious once we play. So gaps, there's like an air duct that has a gap. So that's actually quite an easy one. We've got our marine, we'll put them above our health. Because we've got the pulse rifle, we will add that into our action deck. So that's really good because we've got an extra 6 in there, which will be very handy. And then we start building. So we have 4 locations that go round like this. And we then go through a process of resolving those, which then spawn out more rooms. And so if you look at the manual, really good manual, it shows you the layout of what you'll end up maximizing when you build a ship. You might not get to that because you might finish all your elements. So when you're resolving a card, so for example, this one is a security turret. You do your action, you pull a card, a random card from your action deck. If you get a 1, it resolves it, and it would kill a void beast if there was one there. If you get a 2 or a 3, it's just resolved, and if it's a 4+, you get a -2 health. So it's the security turret shot you. If you wanted to resolve the blast door, you'd need to pay. You can either use an access card, which we don't have, or use -1 health if you've got an exoskeleton card, which we also don't have. So that one's pretty much blocked. Vacuum. You can, if you've got a astronaut rig, you can just go straight through it, or you can use oxygen, or you can go -1 health and lose the action card for 3 forever, which would be a bit drastic. Or you can fight the swarmlings. So we'll draw an action card and we either get -1 health, or we shuffle it back into the main deck, or we resolve it. All of those are pretty nasty, so I'm going to have a go at the Swarmlings. I think that's the best of the worst options. So we get our action deck and we face the challenge. And we draw a 4. And a 4 means it gets shuffled back into the map deck. So we haven't resolved it. And some of the objectives is to resolve a certain number of rooms. So that one's gone back into the room deck and we just replace it. This is the instrumentation bay. So if we resolve this, we shuffle our action deck from 1 to 5. So we would remove our pulse rifle. Doesn't count. Then we can choose one to discard. Oh, that's quite handy. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to resolve that one. So we shuffle our deck. I'll take 2 out of the middle. I'll discard the 2. So basically we just thinned our, would it be better if we had the 1? Usually low is bad, apart from security. Okay, so that's resolved. And because we've resolved it, we get to play a new card. So we do a junction. So that goes there. And this one is a wrecked module, cannot be resolved. So that's basically a vacuum to space. So that's dead-ended. So that's annoying. So we're either going to lose health, or what I should have done, I should have thrown away the 3, because then I wouldn't have had to do it again. Well, let's try our friend, the security turret. So we do another challenge, and we get a 3, which is resolved. Okay, and we'll get another junction, and we get a data crystal. So we can just explore that one straight away, and we add that to our inventory. And we'll get a replacement. Oh, this is so unlucky. Wrecked module, cannot be resolved. So that's dead. We need an access card. So we're going to have to do that one, which is annoying. So we do -1 health. And we'll go to our action deck and discard 3. Okay, and when we add it, it goes this way. And we've got the Void Beast, which is nasty. It's a shame we didn't have the security gun. We don't have a lot of choice. Let's have to go to the Void Beast. A 5, which is shuffle back into the map deck, which isn't. Would be nice to draw our plasma rifle then. So that goes back to there, we put a new one, and we get a guard bot. Okay, can live with that. Let's run the challenge on this one. 1, -2 health. So now I'm down to 1 health. Well, let's challenge the guard bot again. Middle. 6, hurrah. Okay, so that's resolved. Now what we do is, because we've resolved that one, we get to basically build big chunks of the ship. So we get to add 3, which is really handy, because we've got the air duct. And what the air duct does is, to resolve that, you have to explore 2 and gaps, and these are these things here, and gaps. And so I will put one here and one here, which is good and bad, because I need to do that to resolve my game. So to resolve that, and I've got the grav shaft, so that is actually the exit. So the exit's arrived, which is fantastic, but I have to take on the Void Beast. Which isn't helpful, but what I can do is, if I look at this one, the control room, I can discard a data crystal, which I have, which will allow us to, 1, resolve this, and I can resolve, well, it should be that way. I should have put those on that side then. That's fine. I can resolve a blast door, so I'll resolve that as well. So we'll get a new one of those, and we will get one like that here. So I'm going to have that one. I'm going to resolve the data crystal. Thank you. And we get a security turret. So now, if we challenge the security turret, hopefully we'll get a 1. Did we throw out the 1? No, we've still got the 1. So now we want a 1. If I get a 4+, I'm dead. What happens if I take the Void Beast? 1 to 3, and I'm dead. Or 7 to resolve it. Oh, I don't have a 7, there's no way I can do that. So security turret or nothing. Okay. Random. You saw it on the video. Okay, so I get a 1, and 1 says it's resolved, and you may also resolve a Void Beast. So I resolve that one, I resolve that one, and I could spawn, if I was playing this for longer, I would spawn, because that one's resolved, new ones on each of those. But I don't need to, because I can now resolve my grav shaft, which is the exit condition, which is my objective. Boom, and I escaped. Very lucky. So I escaped with 1 health. On a fluke draw, what are chances I had? 1 in 4. So yeah, so there you go. That was a surprisingly successful run through of Deck 52, and that was just one level. There's also a campaign where you have a campaign sheet, and the idea is you get up to level 52. So you start at level 1, and every time you go up the grav chute, you build a new explore, and then once you hit level 10, you can upgrade some equipment, and there's a threat card that generates random threats that makes it more difficult. And then when you get to level 20, you get another upgrade. Level 25, then you're doing 2 threats per level, then 3 threats per level. So you're working your way through the spaceship, objective at a time, but also getting more and more difficult as you hit different threat levels. And so you get some easy levels and some harder levels. So yeah, and so I think that's going to make it, you can come back to it and do another level and go further up. And there's a whole lot of other cards like a flamethrower, exoskeleton, astronaut rig, stim pack with special abilities and giving you much better aspects. And if you play the other characters, we played the Marine. The Thug starts with a stim pack and a grenade, and the Scientist starts with a force field, oxygen, and access card, which sounds really good, apart from the fact that you then realise that if you take out the force field, oxygen, and access card, you then only have 3 cards in your loot. So the chances of drawing that explosive one is higher. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. This is available on PNPArcade. I think it was about $9, which is not too bad. I enjoyed it. It's really, really nice art. Fun mechanic, quick, easy little dungeon crawls for a spaceship. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.